out to be completely unreliable assholes.
Buongiorno, Tim.
Hey, Ryan.
And buongiorno, everyone. Welcome to episode 56 of Dismembering Horror.
Jeez.
Here we are. Dismembering Horror. It's the podcast show where myself, Ryan McDuffie,
Myself, Tim Aslin.
we dismember a horror film every week. We talk about what worked for us, what did not work for us, and anything we found interesting or noteworthy about a horror film we watched. Isn't that right, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing it in the spirit of, it's always fun to get together with a buddy, watch a horror film, and then pick it apart. Because there's something particular and special about horror films, the genre of horror, where despite how good or bad it may be, there's always something fascinating going on in it because it's exploring the depths in its own special way.
Man, what an intro.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I have one thing to add. Just stop putting monkeys in movies.
What do you mean? Those are the best movies.
This is really where our paths diverge, you and me.
I mean, we're going to get into it, but the chimpanzee in this movie really sealed the deal for me.
I bet it did. You seemed tickled.
Haven't you seen Shakma? That one's really good.
No.
That's like about one of those red-butted baboons in a lab.
No.
Going crazy. Oh, it's so good. Is it because of...
I just can't get on board.
Is it from like an animal abuse side you don't like it?
No. I just think that the second you introduce a primate, the movie just... It falls apart for me.
What?
Yeah.
But it like the second you introduce a primate, it like goes to a whole nother level. It becomes entirely more engrossing.
No.
The scenes with...
The opposite.
Why?
For me,
How?
Because I just think it's cheesy and dumb.
What? How?
Because it's a trained animal. I don't know. It just feels dumb.
But it's incredible, like, to capture them on film, right?
Is it?
Like any
in
animal.
the wild, maybe.
Have you seen Roar? The movie with all those that took them like 10 years to make with Tippi Hedren, where they used all those real life lions and tigers.
The one where her daughter got attacked.
Like all these crew guys got maimed. Yeah,
I have not seen. I've heard of it.
Semi in the wild, where they're just definitely in the. I don't. But it's like animals. They're so cool. Like let's put them in things and document them.
I think it's the sort of semi-anthropomorphizing of it that I'm just like, this is cheesy and stupid.
But it's not. It's not.
I know it's not.
It's
exactly
not a chimpanzee playing a human. It's a chimpanzee playing a chimpanzee. But I feel like that's what
people are getting at. Like they're I don't know. It just feels. But like it feels hokey and
you do have
like on the nose and weird.
Those relationships, like in this movie, are real. Like between chimpanzees and humans. Yeah, where you have a helper monkey.
I feel like, you know what it actually is? It feels exploitative to me.
Okay, so then
that's actually what it is. Now that like what you're describing then makes me go, yeah, but it's like, does it know it's being filmed?
I mean, that's a big moral question. Like, and it's
does it know
films
it's
and animal use in
an
it.
Actor? Did it get paid?
Right, but it's like. I don't know, like we aren't ones to decide. I don't know, like Homeward Bound, is that just a movie that never should have been made?
Homeward Bound or The Amazing Journey?
Was that the second one?
I think they're the same movie, but one's the remake of the first one.
Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey.
The Incredible Journey.
Is just the full name of the first one.
But are you remembering the one from like the early 80s or the one from like the 90s that had Michael J. Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a remake.
Really?
Yeah. But the original, it's not the same name. I forget what it's called.
But it's about animals trying to get back home.
It's the same thing.
Whatever movie it is, do you think those movies shouldn't exist? because they're exploitive?
I don't know.
I'm always asking
I
myself
think dogs feel different to me.
Because they're just like, yeah, whatever, along for the ride.
Because they are domesticated.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, hey, yeah, cool, yeah, treat.
Yeah.
But like primates feel different to me.
This felt okay to me, but like, as much as I love videos of chimpanzees, dressed up in costumes playing in a band, I don't think that's.
Oh man,
that's where I don't think we should
be.
That's the
line for you.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love that is too much like the circus mentality where I don't think we should do that
Maybe
anymore.
that's what it is.
But here it was just like showing. You just started us off on the right topic, Tim.
I can't help it.
It was just like you see this friendship on display, this camaraderie between chimpanzee and Donald Pleasence. It was beautiful. Like that wasn't faked, They cared for each other.
I mean, it's by definition faked, but I know what you mean. With insular to the chimpanzee, it's not faked.
But chimpanzees their animal actors can be the best actors because like what actors are trying to do is go beyond the facade of acting and say, oh, that's when we say, oh, they had a real good chemistry. You tap into something genuine, which when it's, an animal working with a human that can just be there more instantaneously or inherently. Like it was incredible. Like when Donald Pleasence, got off and the chimpanzee really cared about him and was going up to him. It was beautiful.
That feels exploitative to me. Because he didn't actually die, but the chimp thought he did.
I mean, yeah, that was messed up if the chimp thought he did. But then I'm sure he's like, oh, hello, Coco, I'm okay. And he goes, oh, yeah,
Maybe. Anyway. What did we watch this week?
We're talking about the film Phenomena. That's what we were just talking about.
Not to be confused with the trailer we just watched.
Phenomenon with the Michael, or what's his face? John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Great. Well, we should get into it. But real quick, I just wanted to tell you that I saw the director's cut of Midsommar last night.
Oh, yeah.
It was good.
Was it?
I'm trying to figure out which I like better.
How much longer was it?
I think it was like a good 20, 25 minutes.
Wow.
It was substantial. There's like full new scenes. This is the thing. I loved all the new content, but I think maybe the theatrical cut, it almost felt like you sort of were able to follow the through lines more easily in the director's cut, which sort of almost hurt it as feeling kind of confused or out of place or getting into the kind of spell of it all. The theatrical cut, even though it was shorter, it almost made it feel longer and that sort of,
like what's going on?
Yeah, that way. So I don't know, but again, I really liked all the scenes, so it's hard to say. I'm thinking about it.
Interesting.
But that's what it is. But I would be happy. I would be so happy to have it on my shelf, exactly as I predicted. Like I knew as soon as after I'd see it a second time, I'd want to move it from a rent it to a buy it. And we can't go back and change things, but that's for the record. That's where I'm at with it now.
We could.
No, we do it by episode. In the episode, we said rent it. That's what it will forever be. But
for that one person out there, eventually.
Yeah.
Who is keeping track, has a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
They're going to run back to it and be like, fuck.
Well, no, now they'll see later. Okay.
Line through.
That's something that we don't keep track of, but they should is, right, we changed it from a rent it to a buy it.
Cool.
Great. That's all my business. Okay. Should we watch the trailer for the movie we've already been talking about? You got anything else?
I have one more thing. Did we ever mention that we have been doing this for more than a year now?
No.
When we did episode 53, technically that's officially the start of a new year of this.
Oh yeah.
And now we're 3 past that anyway.
Great. It would have been 52 weeks. Yeah, 53.
Yeah. So good job.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Tim.
Thanks. What a year.
And it's been exactly what a year for anyone who's been here with us listening to the majority of them. Thank you.
Yeah.
We do it.
I mean, I think it's cool because, how often can you say, yeah, I just spent the last year consistently doing a thing that I like doing?
Right.
I can't.
Can't say that about working out or
Exactly.
but
Or any vice.
watching and talking about horror movies. Hey, that's something I knew I could do and should do.
Yeah, we're going to do it anyway.
Great. Well, hope you stick with us, everyone, for another year. We're going to cross 100. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, let's watch that trailer.
All right. Phenomena.
The wind, yes. The phone. Very particular wind. Typical of this part of the country. It comes from the Alps. The blasts of warm air cause snow avalanches. While it blows, there are those who say it causes madness. Have you any idea why they behave like that? Never done this before.
It's probably because of me. I guess they sense the mood I'm in.
See, he's not afraid of you. He won't do that for me. Ask him to lead you where the dead bodies are hidden, and he'll lead you. That flag.
You know what that music sounds like to me?
What?
It sounds like video game, like early Nintendo or Sega video game music.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You mean...
It's just synthy and sort of 8-bitty or 16-bitty feeling to me.
Got it. Well, I want to know how that contributed to your enjoyment of this film, Tim. In that, I would be very curious to know, per our show system and format, how you rated this film.
Oh my god. Sadly, there's a part of me that just wants to be like, avoid it. But there's some good stuff in it. Good-ish. So it's just stream it. Not Dario's best work.
Okay.
In my book.
How about overall, like, in just sort of compared to Italian horror, where did it kind of lay for you?
It felt not good. Like, it seemed... I just... Nothing came together in it for me. It felt like a bunch of kind of interesting ideas that were really disjointed, so...
Yeah, I agree. This felt like exactly what you just said, but like... So remember Deep Red? It felt like exactly what you just said, disjointed ideas that didn't go anywhere, blah, blah, blah. But that movie just also had me kind of just frustrated and angry at kind of just the sort of logical flow of everything or lack thereof.
Yeah, this had more.
This had more, even though it didn't have much.
Right. But you know, it was lacking that Deep Red had was these sort of really beautifully composed shots. I never felt that in this.
There's one, which I guess isn't saying a lot. Yeah, he really stepped it up for his next film, Opera.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I know. So
Maybe
this
is just a paycheck.
I was thinking stream it, but I was also feeling more generous than I am when I was looking at it compared to the other Italian horror films, where like I wasn't nearly as just kind of bored and angry as like in this one as I was watching from what I remember of Deep Red and some other ones I've seen. So like in context of the other ones, I was thinking rent it if it was just like okay, and then also against the one that we just watched,
The Beyond.
The Beyond, yeah. Like this was way more.
I think I liked The Beyond more.
Yeah, they're pretty comparable. They're pretty comparable for me. The ending did a lot of heavy. The ending made me
of this one.
Yeah, of this one made me like want to rent it.
Yeah, I can see
the rest of the movie was stream it, but I don't know. I think as I get more distance from it, I don't know. It's like if I wanted to see Italian horror movie, you know, it's just watch our opera. But second to that, if I just felt like watching another one or seeing another one that wasn't so like just I don't know, I'm really ragging on them here, but so just made me mad watching. I'd say rent this one. Like, I feel like it's my up there. It's sort of the most enjoyable ones I've seen. But whatever. Okay, Ryan, stream it. I'll go with that.
Oh man,
I'm not comparing it. There isn't a rating system comparing it to other Italian horror films, but rather horror films.
All right, that's fair.
Okay. Well, we both gave it stream it. So what happened in it? What the heck? What the heck was our takeaway from this one, Tim?
Oh my God.
You got a rich daughter, a celebrity's daughter.
Yeah.
Who's put to
there's
boarding
a
school.
killer on the loose.
Yes.
Who's killing young women. We know that.
And where are they?
Switzerland.
Yeah.
And then she gets sent to a all-girls
Like
sort of
months later.
boarding school. Yeah, I think it's 8 months later or something like that,
Yeah,
which is ours. Like, so random.
Get sent to a boarding school.
Why is it 8 months later? Why isn't it a year later?
Everyone's pissy to her there for some reason.
Everybody sucks.
Yeah,
That school sucks.
it does.
The fucking before she even gets to the school, the bee scene in the car, I was like, this with I don't remember her name, but the lady.
That's who ends up being the bad guy.
I know.
Frau Bruckner.
There you go. Like the setup that everybody in her new world is a piece of shit. It's like right off the bat.
Yep.
But anyway, sorry. I'm just very eager to be mad at Frau. Whatever her name was.
So not a lot happens. She so she kind of just she sleepwalks.
Yeah.
And then sleepwalks her way into trouble. And then a chimpanzee finds her and introduces her to Donald Pleasence, who is an insect etymologist, insectologist, whatever.
And if somebody doesn't make the connection, that's Loomis from
Halloween. So and it's just coincidentally Jennifer Connelly, whose name is Jennifer.
You gotta just make it easy on them actors.
So Jennifer has a sort of sixth sense with insects and animals, it seems.
Yes.
Because she's a vegetarian.
That's right.
Or coincidentally. But it was just that she happened to get hooked up with this professor who studies insects.
What a coincidence.
Right? And this professor is also kind of like, he's a consultant for criminologists using, where the sort of Donald Pleasence has something to say about how bodies decompose and the speed of which they do, and he can look at flies and
the larvae and maggots
and
how
know
old
like
they are.
down to the day
What type they are. Yeah.
when the decomposed head
Right.
of a body was killed, when the person was killed.
Yep. Yeah.
And then
that's
she
very, very lucky.
We think she kind of gets on the hunt at a certain point by teaming up with a fly to find a dead body, but then that doesn't really go anywhere, except she just gets kicked out of the house.
Well, it leads her to the killer's house.
Right.
Right?
The house that she got that the cold open.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens right after that?
The realtor says you can't be in here, and she leaves. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, they never go back there. She doesn't get any clues.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's a different house from the end. Well, that's the killer's
I know.
in.
There was some very strange, like, I don't know. There's some shit in this movie that just made no sense to me.
What else? I mean, as far as the summary.
Okay, so then it turns out that very conveniently, the woman, Frau Buchenwald or whatever her name is.
Bruckner.
There you go. That she has a son who's deformed. And... But why does she... I don't even get it. Why does she kidnap Jennifer?
I don't know. So Jennifer is on her way. She's finally about
trying
to
to
make
get
her
out of
escape.
there.
She's like telling her dad, like, send our helper or our person, whatever, some guy who helps out their family, their lawyer or something, like, to come save me.
How lame.
He's on his way, but has told this headmaster mistress.
It is her father's lawyer, Morris Shapiro.
Right.
That, oh man.
So Frau Buchner's is just supposed to watch her for the night until she can leave in the morning. And then when that happens, Frau Buchner's like insisting on, she's like saying, take these pills, and basically turns out to be the killer. And then we're finally in our ending and Jennifer lives. That's it.
But so this is what I don't understand. Two things. Is Bruckner the killer, or is her son the killer?
Bruckner. That's what I assumed.
Okay.
Right?
Because then the son is, the deformed son is the one who has that, like, the spear sort of thing in the end.
But he's, like, locked up, it feels like.
It does. Like, he's in the kind of dungeony rooms, but his door is open. And it's like he's been scolded. He's been put in timeout.
Yeah.
Man, there's some weird shit in this movie.
Mm-hmm. It's got the Argento weirdness factor for sure.
Let's just dive in, I guess. That's the summary, right?
Well, the summary is supposed to be what Tim and I got out of it.
Well, what I got out of it was confusion.
Yep.
A lot of confusion.
So, par for the course.
Let's explore that.
Okay. First section. What worked?
What worked? What worked for you? What worked for you?
It worked like a charm.
What worked? What worked for you?
I mean, that weirdness, though, I like it, you know?
I do too, as a vibe.
Like, yeah, exactly. That vibe. I get, again, like I'll say this with every Italian horror movie. I get why people like it, because it comes down to the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate it. I enjoy it when there's something that's entertaining going on at the time.
Do you think these movies are made for people who are, like, smoking weed? Like, I mean, is it made with that kind of in mind to, like...
I don't think they're made with that in mind. I think there's just some deeply embedded, like, Italian sensibilities where they sort of care more about certain aspects than others, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I just think to myself, like, that might be fun to watch.
No, I remember
stoned.
In my smoking days watching horror movies that these were even hard. They made it even harder to get through.
Oh, no.
Because you're just like... What because it's harder to follow. Like whatever there is, you feel like you're missing something when it's not just the weed. It doesn't make sense outside of that.
Maybe they're for people who are on Adderall. Like take some Adderall and watch one of these.
They're just for, I don't know, people who love, again, that vibe, quote unquote, so much.
All right, so let's see.
So that worked. I do like.
As you noticed, that one of the first things from the trailer, the music, it's just such a thing.
And had a lot of guest bands, artists attached to it.
Like fucking Iron Maiden and Motorhead in there. That's amazing.
Yeah. And that one main theme was good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Can't help but want to sing along.
Mm-hmm. Which we did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Tim, we gotta circle back and get this out of the way because clearly I loved what made this film for me was the character Inga.
Mm-hmm.
So I have down just like in what worked, you know, just as far as the characters and actors, just the chimpanzee all on their own. You know, Inga saving the day multiple times, was a good and the character name was Inga. So then Inga's interactions with Donald Pleasence, just the two of them as buddies hanging out. Inga's like pushing the wheelchair around, just seeing their whole little world like together. I just loved it so much. It was so beautiful and endearing. And then Donald Pleasence on his own as well.
Yeah.
Like he was great, you know, in every scene he had. And then also the combination Donald Pleasence and Jennifer Connelly. Like there was maybe just 2 scenes in there where it was just sort of like those first get to know, you know, when she's progressively going over there a couple times and they're getting to be buddy. It was just great seeing these 2 good actors just interact and be, you know, whether they were, despite the material or whatever the heck they were talking about, just their presence talking together. And then then we also had the combination of some scenes of the chimpanzee and Jennifer Connelly, which just how great was that too? Well, I'm asking rhetorically because you clearly didn't think it was great. I thought it was incredible. Like just it's at the ending when they're embracing and you said, how do you think they're still friends after that? I was like, oh, probably. I mean, probably meant a lot to each other. They bonded.
I want to know, like, does Jennifer Connelly call up that chimpanzee's handler and say, hey, can we arrange a play date?
I'd love to think so. I could see the chimpanzee.
And they just sit down for coffee.
I bet the chimpanzee kind of fell in love with her, and I could see the chimpanzee easily becoming obsessed with Jennifer Connelly and missing her,
A friendship forever.
Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful to see those interactions preserved on film. I just loved that so much. And any combination of those three, it was great. That's kind of what I had as far as just actors, I guess casting wise, though, by the end, the Frau Bruckner, she was a fun bad guy to hate, or to be fearful of, just to watch go crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if I can... as like stupid and kind of annoying as that car scene with the bee was, like it is fun.
Oh yeah,
it's so ridiculous.
She's like flipping
flips out.
Lots of bee. So is that what you're supposed to do when there's a bee? You swat at it
inside your car.
Like, what are you doing?
And then it like gets in the driver's face and he hits the gas.
Like almost crashes the car. Just roll down the window and don't freak out.
Everybody just fucking calm down. Yeah. It's a goddamn bee.
And they're the one wanting to send her to the mental asylum.
I know. But I like that. Just the absurdity of it. It's so good.
And I get more on Frau later, because let's save the ending for the ending.
Fair enough.
I mean, it was cool. Like her, I liked in itself. Again, doesn't really. It adds up plot wise, I guess, even though it doesn't congeal theme wise as far as her connection with insects and animals.
Yeah,
like it was that paid off for some fun scenes and just ideas. I
think that the individual things that are going on, or just individual story elements, I like a lot of them. Like, this insect thing is cool. The sleepwalking, I think, is always freaky and cool.
Yeah. I like the insects being telepathic, that idea.
Yeah, exactly. Just the setting of, like, an old, a women's, or whatever, young women's school on the premises of Richard Wagner?
Yeah.
Wagner? Is it Richard?
Probably.
I think, whatever. Wagner's old giant estate with multiple buildings, and all of them are dilapidated. Which we really didn't
spend a whole lot of time
We only
in.
got kind of the one scene when she sleepwalks to another one of the dilapidated houses and has that hilarious, like, just almost comical, like, falling off the side of it, but getting caught by her robe. So was that supposed to be
the phenomena that made it break coincidentally in front of her? That was all a lot of crazy coincidence happening.
I don't know what the phenomenon was. I'm going to be honest. That was lost on me. I'm not sure what part of this movie was the phenomena.
I think it was her kinship and communication with animals.
Fair enough. But I love this scene where it's so weird, the idea of she's sleepwalking, she makes her way mysteriously onto the ledge of another building.
Right.
Like, that's amazing. How'd she get up there?
When the killer happens to be there.
And she watches the girl get the spear through the back of the neck and out her mouth.
And doesn't remember it because she's sleepwalking.
But yeah, exactly. She doesn't remember it. And I mean, let's just say this might be my favorite scene in the whole movie, because it is what a fucking night she had.
Yeah.
I mean, just to recap, she starts sleepwalking. She ends up on a roof. She sees a girl get a knife through the back of the neck, out her mouth. She then falls almost falls off of the edge of this crumbling building, and her robe catches.
Right, her robe catches. Coincidentally, the roof falls in front of her at the same time.
That's right.
It's not that she's stepping on it and it falls. Coincidentally, roof
just
falls in front of her.
Yeah, crumble in front of her.
On this night.
Yeah, on this particular night. Maybe because she walked over it before then?
Nope, she didn't.
Oh, you're right. So she gets magically caught by her robe. Amazing thread work in that robe to hold on to her that well.
There's a couple dudes seem like they're shaving her, checking up on her.
Before that, there's like the weirdest jump cut. She falls. Finally, she falls and is fine. But then she's standing. She just like, sleepwalks standing out in front of a bush. And then it's the hard cut. She's in a street.
Right.
And she's like getting missed by traffic. And then she gets hit by a car. And these two dudes get out, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And then they fucking kidnap her.
Yeah. Start groping her.
Yeah, and she's like, trying to get away in this little convertible. And then she jumps out of the car.
Yeah.
And like rolls down a hill.
And then a chimpanzee finds her.
A chimpanzee fucking finds her.
In the middle of a forest.
In Switzerland.
Yeah, what a night.
And then she meets Donald Pleasence. What a fucking night.
Right, put that in her diary.
You know what? That's the phenomena.
Yeah.
That night.
The coincidence.
Holy shit. She didn't even talk to fucking bugs that night.
No. Yeah, it was different.
Oh, man. You know what? If the whole movie had just been a fucking, dominoes of that type of thing the rest of the way, I would have been super on board.
Yeah.
Just fucking
nutso. Yeah,
night.
go with it. But I did like when her kinship with insects was, there and present. Like her getting led by the firefly.
That I thought that was cool.
Yeah, the ways to work it in. Of course, the main fly that helps her find the body. And then when she summons the swarm of flies at the dormitory, that was incredible.
That makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
I do not like. Ugh.
See, when we were talking about Demon House, that's the amount of flies I was imagining on the window.
Sure.
Which when you say like, yeah, but that just happens. I'm like, really? Like that many?
Not at that level, yeah.
And that's what I was trying to distinguish. I'm like, what if it was that amount though?
I would not want to be there.
It was great when they were all freaking out about the flies too, because they were set up to be so cruel. The other girls and the teachers just like needlessly picking on her in the most kind of immature, senseless, like.
That is a weird scene. They're literally buzzing around her.
Yeah.
Pretending that they're like a bee or fly or whatever.
Oh, right. And then when she was visiting Donald Pleasence, I liked those ideas presented of, the insects, they like you. They were, they change their demeanor when she's there or not.
You calm them down or something like that, he says. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, we get it, Donald
Trying to think any other neat insect kinship animal things. I mean, of course, the chimpanzee, but the insects.
There's a couple scenes that they kind of Beastmaster it. Do you remember that movie, Beastmaster?
Yeah.
Where she like gets these little flashes of, I am assuming is what the bugs are seeing. So like one time we see when she gets the glove and it's got maggots all over it, she kind of has this flash of like vision of what the maggots saw.
Oh yeah, she gets insect POV a couple times.
Yeah. And that's a cool. I mean, they're right before the firefly. It sort of dawned on me. I was like, oh, cool. Like she's gonna start seeing through these insects because of her connection, like clues that will lead her to solve who the murderer is.
Not an Argento movie.
And I got excited for that. It didn't really happen.
You think things are gonna happen like clues getting set up and paid off in an Argento movie? No way, Tim. That sounds so mean. God, well, Tim, the way we were, side note, what was the last one of those last movies that we watched.
The Beyond.
Ready or Not.
Ready or Not.
It's hard doing these new films for me because like we talked about this before, where like even when it's Insidious 4 and we just hate on it, they're still our contemporaries making these films. Like it's always feels uncomfortable and in retrospect, you know, because it's so easily to sort of separate, like for better and worse, I'm always someone who separates the art and the artist, you know? So like in our case, it's easy just to like, we weren't talking about these filmmakers, we're talking about the movie,
right.
You know? So, but there's something about when it's an older film, it feels like it's more isolated into just being the movie itself, disconnected from the filmmakers. So it's easier just to talk about it like in a sort of critical, you know, not considering the people's emotional attachment and just that, you know how we feel when we make things too. But man, I was feeling it again, the remorse and regret with Ready or Not being a 2019 film with people trying their darndest. I feel bad because we railed on that one.
I mean, you know, sometimes it is deserved.
Yeah. Oh, but then that's the other thing though, is like, it's, I think, a good thing to be critical and hold a higher standard for filmmaking.
Definitely.
But is there a way? I don't know if there's a way to do that, to like not be like, you know, just focusing on the positive wouldn't be constructive enough. You have to call out what isn't working too.
But I think part of where the criticism comes with a lot of these contemporary things is like, look, horror across historically, there's lots of quote unquote bad horror. And it becomes endearing and we like the badness of it a lot of the time. I think the problem with a lot of the contemporary stuff is that it's neither bad nor good. It's just middling because they're just sort of existing in this like, I don't know, like almost be too safe and don't really like go full force into, you know, we're just going to do crazy shit. And like, it may be bad, it may be good. We don't know. Whereas like Midsommar, you know, they're like, no, we're going to go crazy shit. And it happens to be good because the vision is whatever. It's accomplished the way the guy wanted it to. So I think most of my criticism of this contemporary stuff is just because it's fucking middling. Mm-hmm. Whereas Argento, you know, I think a lot of this shit is bad, but man, they're going for it.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said about the regardless of when it happened, it's just they allowed themselves to fucking go at full force into what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so that even though the result may not be great, I think there's something to be said about the value of that. And it's what often I'm taking away from these older movies, and I'm like, yeah, it's shit, but like The Beyond has some cool ass stuff in it.
Right.
And they went for it.
They're always going for it no matter what. Yeah.
I mean, that guy fired that gun 30 times.
Right.
Like, they're like, fuck it, let's just go. We'll worry about it later. So I think there's
Ready or Not, it feels like they think they're going for it with its with a kind of ending where it's, oh my god, there's the ghost, and you know, and they're all exploding. Whoa.
Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm just, apologies, filmmakers. This is just my like have my cake and eat it too, where I rail on it, then feel bad and apologize. I don't know. There's no right answer. Anyway, sorry. Phenomena.
So what else?
Phenomena. In the trailer reminded me her nightmare dream sequences of that hallway was super cool.
I kept wanting to see what that connected to.
Again, what did it add up to?
Yeah, visually, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. Sort of angular white.
Yeah. So the turn, if you can call it that, of Frau Bruckner.
Wait, if that's the ending, can I mention anything before that, or?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else is there before that worked.
For me, is just like the one, well, I guess three other things I have before that, if that's okay. The one shot that I thought was the excellent shot that reminded me of like, oh yeah, that's what was so good about opera, is all the shots were like this. When she was in the house following the fly and they were approaching the closet, there's this like super smooth tracking shot with the fly, where it looked utterly real and like sharp and in focus with the fly. And it was just incredible. It was just one of those shots where I just went, how did they do that?
How did they do that?
It was really, really neat though, but just felt like it had that sort of just incredible slickness of a lot of the shots in opera. It was the sort of one example of that in there. I got caught up with and enjoyed the threat of getting put in the mental asylum.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like when we were talking about freedom and stuff earlier before the show, Tim, that's something like why I have such a sort of fear of getting put away, even if it's just prison, but like mental asylum.
Yeah, we've talked about that thing of like being like not being believed or feeling
sisters.
Yeah, the
about
thing
that.
of like credibility when somebody just is like, oh no, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So, and you can't defend that.
Right.
So like, yeah, that scene, the scene when they're like, you're probably schizophrenic. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then what? She just jumped. She's like, fuck this. I'm out of here.
Yeah. And they didn't really even have to show her escape. She just kind of,
yeah.
She made it out
But
somehow.
that's scary.
But yeah, exactly. I got caught up in that. I'm like, get out of there, Jennifer.
So actually, just to sort of pull back and look at it from a broad standpoint, the idea of going to a totally foreign country and being put in a place where everybody is sort of against you.
They're the crazy ones, really, too.
Yeah. And then to take it even one step further where they start saying, you're crazy, and actually, maybe you're the killer. Like, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Because she has absolutely no allies.
No.
Sophie, gets offed pretty early.
The roommate. Yeah.
Yeah. Donald Pleasence, he's basically the only person who's sort of her friend.
So that was my other big scene that I loved.
But he's not going to help her, right? He's in a wheelchair. Like, he's very limited to how much he could come to her
he's
aid.
a witness. Maybe you can't help her, physically, but
yeah.
But that's what, so when it got to his big death scene, I was so into that because I was like, no, don't die. I actually kind of got caught up in their relationship and rapport that, it was kind of, even though I didn't want him to die, it was in the way that you wanted when watching a horror movie, where I actually was into it. I liked him. And then to have the intensity of I thought Inga could just save the day. The chimpanzee's so smart, rushes around and starts pulling down the shutters, but can't make it in time. But Inga, come on, save him. And it was just so horrifying to feel poor Inga, watching her buddy, whatever, get killed.
Yeah. Oh,
that was my other sort of standout scene in it. I was into that. It was sad.
Yeah.
How about the ending?
Okay.
The ending.
So, in spite of the seeming lack of any thread of logic, her getting... I love it when there's the scene of, oh shit, I'm in trouble. Mm-hmm. And her getting given the pill. What is the pill supposed to be for? To make her sleep?
I think so.
It's a sleeping pill.
Who knows?
Supposedly.
I don't know.
She's like, fuck it, just take this fucking pill.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa. If somebody was that aggressive about giving me a pill,
right,
I definitely would be like, no thanks.
Well, that's what she says at first, but then they switch to Italian.
That's right.
And somehow,
so maybe she had a really good argument.
Yeah, that presumably.
We don't know. But I like that whole thing because then it's a cat and mouse thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, is Jennifer going to figure out, how to... She figures it out a little too late. Well, she probably shouldn't have taken the pill.
Because from the get-go, when she is in the clutches of Frau Bruckner, who's supposed to be helping her, we just know from the get-go that she is unhinged, this woman.
Yeah.
Their interaction is so unnerving.
There is absolutely no moment of screen time where Frau Bruckner isn't flipping out over something. So it's like, if you didn't think she was, at minimum, just a fucking weird, unreliable person.
Yeah.
You get it by now.
Well, just casting wise was so much fun. Like to have her as this unhinged, crazy bad guy.
Yeah.
And then like she has so she finally she gets Jennifer in her clutches. She has the shutters, these metal shutters closed down, trapping her in there.
That whole house is
right.
It's what the fuck.
We have the setup.
It's like out of a fucking spy movie.
Yeah, we have the setup of don't I'm telling you about my son, but don't worry about him or whatever. She finds a doll that she thinks is him.
Oh yeah.
The full size human.
Don't grab him like that.
Yeah.
Like, you think this is my son? This is a doll.
It's like, oh, well, why do you have this? And then finally we escalate to where she does get in the Dungeness area of this house, which connects the old asylum or whatever.
There's something really pleasing to me about like secret passageway or like holes that you climb through.
Yeah, she's escaping and does literally that.
And then you find yourself in a new world. It's kind of Alice in Wonderland-y. I just that construct of storytelling.
Right. Well, it has
I think
to do
is
with
really
like
fun.
mystery and adventure.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
scratches those itches. And then she ends up, Tim, like in a horror movie sense, this was, I do fine comparatively, and like the pool pit of dead bodies. I do fine with the flies, but a pool of maggots like that. No, man.
Bodies? No
way.
That's your limit?
Flipping out.
It was pretty gross.
Give me dead bodies any day.
Yeah. Yeah, like you're in the soup of decay.
Yeah, it's specifically the maggots.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's like,
I don't
but
like
think
worm
about
things.
it for a second. Mm-hmm. That pool or whatever is filled with the decomposed, poop. It's the maggots ate the flesh and then pooped it out, and that's what that water is full of. It's
soup of decay.
It's soup of decay.
Yeah,
and the maggots are all just swimming in it.
It's
love and life.
The soup of
Imagine
decay
how
doesn't get to me.
Excited. That would have been a fun scene if when she got in there, she's all flipping out, but then she's like seeing what the maggots feel, and the maggots are like paradise. That would have been fun.
How would you see that from their point of view? You just have that music
It's
come
like,
in.
Yeah, maybe just like you get a flash of one of them. Yeah. They're like sipping on a cocktail, laying on a beach.
I mean, why not?
I wouldn't put it past Argento to throw that in there.
So that was horrific and caused a visceral response from me.
Yeah.
But Tim, the sun, holy crap, Tim. It's like, I loved that the appearance of the sun, that was, oh my God, incredible.
Yeah.
How the design of how he looked, where it's like this sort of fish maggot face himself.
Yes.
Chomping. Yeah. Those like the closed, like the tight mouth, those little teeth, the sort of sloth Goonies face.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then just clearly as no good intent too. It's kind of manic and going after Jennifer.
Right off the bat.
It was but it just kept going from there, because I thought like that was payoff enough to like made me want to rent it in the moment of her just seeing him and getting that reveal. I'm like, oh my God, that was incredible, so cool. But then she's finally making the escape and he appears again.
Man, that leap off the pier into the boat.
Yeah. Woo! And then she gets the flies to attack him, and
that I love.
Oh God, that looked so cool.
His face, like him pulling his own face apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm into it.
And then a third time, he's still alive down there.
Yeah.
He's underwater and grabs her. I think I applauded at that part. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Super into that. And then keeps going.
I know.
This ending was incredible, Tim.
This is my... I'm choked up at how much I love this final kill moment.
Right.
Like having Morris show up. By the way, what the fuck is Morris doing?
The lawyer?
Yeah, like we see him in the car at one point, and he like has a gun next to him.
Oh yeah, what was that
What the
all
fuck
about?
is going on?
I think that was just supposed to be just. I mean, it didn't. You didn't
he's like
need
just
the gun.
just in case.
I think it was just supposed to be like, okay, we know he is hopefully coming to arrive to save the day. But that's the gun was an unnecessary
random
element.
What is he, a fucking hitman?
But anyway, this is
Okay, so
what worked.
But granted, I love that you set him up as this sort of odd whatever, and he gets there to save her, and his fucking dude, his head coming off was like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Well, it happened so instantaneously.
Yeah.
Like we were barely had a second to go. Like as soon as we're feeling the emotion, we're halfway through processing the emotion of oh yay, he's come to save the day. And it doesn't even give us that extra little beat of like,
it's like
Morris, Jennifer, Morris. Blah. It was just
it's like,
Morris. Blah.
Hey, I'm here. Nope.
So good.
Also, the thing that cuts off his head is like a piece of sheet metal.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck? Huh? Frau Bruckner is no joke.
Yeah.
Like she's just fucking winging it. And she, like, I don't know where she got that piece of metal, but she's like, I'm going to make good use of it.
She did.
She swung that thing clean cut.
She's just winging it.
Fucking hell.
Perfect timing, too. Comes out of nowhere. Like, didn't see her coming.
Oh, man.
But Tim, you know what I loved even more than him coming to save the day?
I know.
I mean, guys, okay. This was incredible. So this for me, it may be like the best save the day moment. Like out of left field where you really don't feel it coming, but then when it happens, you go, oh yeah, it's a super common trope in movies. You have the injured, defeated person who then comes and saves, makes the final save at the end. This may be up, this is like right next to, if not as big as Han Solo saving the day at the end of Star Wars, Tim.
My God.
You have like long forgotten, who's set up, we see Inga the chimp on their own. But long enough ago, Inga comes with his or her.
It's a razor blade. It's the old barber razor blade, like
right.
It's
but like a full knife, out. Single one.
Yeah,
kills the bad guy.
Which, by the way, is set up the first time we meet her.
Right.
Which is comes all back around.
Right.
So good. The one plot thing that it's actually has a through line.
Right. Like you you loved him, the setup and payoff. Like
Love it.
It's like the whole movie didn't need it because it just had this one huge one of the chimpanzee saving Jennifer. And like it was just so satisfying, him killing the crazy lady, and oh my God. I don't know what else to say about it, Tim. Clearly, I was just super excited about it. It was the best thing.
No, I get it.
And then they embrace, and then it was just beautiful.
So touching, that embrace.
Inga comes and saves it. Because at that point, we're super into it, too. Because the ending just, as we described, escalates. And then I just couldn't think of, like based on the other films, I thought it was just going to end with her, like, getting into the boat, right?
Right, yeah, totally. And the sun coming up or something.
Inga saved the day.
The idea that Inga's she's just out there hanging. And maybe because of Jennifer's phenomena.
Right.
She knows Inga knows she's drawn to this particular place.
Inga's one remaining friend is new friend Jennifer.
But the idea that Inga think about the moment before for Inga. She's just hanging out. She's real bummed, and Donald Pleasence is dead. And then she's probably feeling real like hopeless. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I can do.
She's looking for food in the trash.
Yeah. And then she gets this tingle. Mm-hmm. And she's like, Jennifer's in trouble.
Yeah.
What can I do? And she looks over, and there's the fucking knife, the razor blade. And she's like, I'm fucking on it.
That's what
I'm on it.
Right.
And she grabs the razor blade and takes off.
So this is exactly it too, is just there's the satisfaction of like the whole unseen gap you just described of like Inga switching to hero mode. Like we fill that gap of
she's
happenings.
like, she probably had that moment where she's like, she sees the razor blade, she grabs it, and she looks over and she sees her cape, She's like, I don't have time to put on my hero cape.
Right. Don't
Next
have time to go back home.
Gotta go.
Incredible chimpanzee saves the day action. This is like, yeah, I gave it a stream it, but I kind of wanted to rent it just for that. Okay. Do you have anything else? Can we do?
No. I mean, other than I just love little absurd touches. Like when Jennifer is calling all the flies, she's been taunted by the schoolgirls and everything, and she calls all the flies. That her hair's just fucking being blown around. Mm-hmm. If you saw that in real life, if you were one of those girls, you'd be like, she's possessed. I mean, this is fucking, we've now crossed over. There's no fan in front of her.
Yeah.
But no, I just love little things like that where it's like, who gives a shit if it's real?
Mm-hmm. It's just
Argento
phenomenon.
Yeah. That's it for me, though.
All right, then next section. What did not work?
It's not ready yet.
Seems to work okay.
No, something important's missing.
What did not work?
I mean, I'm not going to belabor it, but I just, like we started off, monkey stuff just, it doesn't work for me. I get it. We don't need to go on.
But specifically monkey stuff?
I think it was all, like, almost every time a monkey shows up in a movie, it just seems cheesy to me. I think it's partially because of the movies that I've seen it in.
Yeah.
Like, that there's a movie called Every Which Way But Lose.
Yeah.
With Clint Eastwood and a monkey.
I haven't seen it.
It's just so cheesy.
But you like Turner and Hooch with a dog.
Not really.
Okay, I thought you were saying something about the line for you as if it's domesticated or not.
I think there's an inherent dorky or cheesiness to that, like, people and animal thing.
It's so good. They're animals.
Yeah, I don't care about them.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I'm dead inside.
Yeah, they're.
Anyway, so whatever. I think in this movie it was fun and it paid off.
You should still watch Shakma. That's a really good.
Wait, which one's that one?
That's the one I mentioned earlier. That's the killer, or it's like the red-butted baboon.
Oh, right. All right, I'll give it a try.
Like, what?
I don't know.
What if you? I think I just have to learn more about chimpanzees because I can't actually speak to this. But I can imagine a chimpanzee having a really fun day on set. They enjoyed the experience of filming a movie. You know.
So actually, that's kind of part of what I don't like. I don't like zoos. I think the idea of zoos and what like kids get out of zoos is really cool. But it's the idea of like captivity and training is so exploitative to me and just unnatural that it gives me an immediate knee jerk like, I don't like this. No,
right. I mean, you don't have to. Yeah. Right. Duh.
So when I see animals in movies, a lot of the time I get that same feeling. I think that, and like you're saying, it may be true that this animal had a really good time doing that thing, but I am reluctant to go there because even that idea it's sort of the idea that they think the way we do.
Right.
And I feel that feels problematic to me because it's like it's like when people are like, oh, my dog is smiling. It's like, that's just, they're not humans, right? They are their own thing.
We're all mammals, though. They're super different, but we're also super similar.
I know, but the idea of putting human emotion onto the animal feels weird to me because I'm like, I don't know how that animal's feeling. Because
you've never had a pet, have you?
I have. I've had cats.
Don't you feel them?
I mean, to an extent. But I don't assume that they have I don't put my emotions onto them. In other words, I don't assume that they feel the way I.
But there's
like.
Right. No, that's true. Like, we need to, it's like the grizzly man guy. Like, dude, that guy, like, that's what you're talking about.
That's the super extreme version of what I'm talking about.
Like, what's also true, though, is like, there's this other disgusting extreme to me of just thinking of animals as such a unrelated other that has no similarities, where it's like, we did this experiment on rats where we electrocuted them and they experienced unhappiness. Like,
right. Yeah, that's
no
fucked up.
shit, like... Like, we gave them treats. We introduced each other to their sisters, and they expressed what we could view as happiness. Oh, wow. Maybe animals aren't things?
Right.
Like, no.
I think what it is because on both sides of what you're talking about, it's humans putting their idea of how this animal, feels or whatever. They're putting their idea of that onto the animal. And I just find that, I'm like, I don't want to make any sort of assumption of how this animal feels. Now, get it.
Here's the truth to me on both sides. Like, to sort of say, what was the first extreme of like, they're so different, blah, 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 they're a complete other thing, like completely disconnected, whatever. That sort of feels to me like, okay, that means you have no like respect for them. That's what feels gross
or like
about
empathy.
That. Yeah. So, that's there's that valid argument against that. But as far as like, there's that other side too. As far as the connectivity we share, and there are similarities we do share. That's just, for me, it's like that's not mysterious to, I guess I already said it.
I think a more succinct way of putting it is, I feel weird when humans try to humanize animals.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, they're what they are. And appreciating that. Like, when my cat came into my room every night and like laid down in my bed, I'd be like, that's cool. That that makes me feel good. That cat seems like it's having a good time. It's sleeping in my bed with me. That's cool. Like, it's snuggled up. Mm-hmm. But I don't like the humanizing part of it, where I'm like, now I know how that cat feels from like the same way that humans feel.
Okay, well, to tie it back to this film, this relationship between Donald Pleasence and the chimpanzee felt like a real one that was accurate, that it wasn't sort of at no time did I feel that they were projecting like doing what you said. Like, this was a real thing, like with helper monkeys and stuff, having a relationship that's, I think, mutually fulfilling for both sides. Like, he's not putting them in glasses and like,
a bow tie or something.
Yeah,
that's true.
And like, when he's pushing him on the wheelchair, he's like gnawing at the handle too.
Yeah.
But what's also true is that, then the chimpanzee, it enjoys that connection. It enjoys the relationship.
But that's the line for me. I don't know that that's true. And so I'm like, I don't want to put that on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make that assumption that the animal enjoys it.
I think we could... maybe not enjoy. I don't think it's a mystery to think that, though, like, when they share that much time together, the chimpanzee loves him in some regard. Whatever that means, that's not a human
What happens
thing.
when the movie's over?
What do you mean? When it's done filming?
Yeah, and then they're like, okay, bye, chimpanzee, we'll never see you again.
Right, I bet, like, they had a nice little goodbye. I don't think...
Probably.
I think the chimpanzee enjoyed... I think that's indisputable, though. It's not projecting a human emotion. It's recognizing shared emotions that we share with, mammals. It's not cowering and acting weird around Donald Pleasence. It's acting familial. Mm-hmm. And like it's not projecting to say, oh, they're enjoying the company. It's not projecting to say like the cat seemed to enjoy cuddling. Like,
right.
Just because those happen to be shared traits doesn't mean because they're shared, you're automatically projecting, I'm
not saying automatically, but I'm saying my knee jerk is to be like, ooh, I don't know. Anyway. Why we go down this path?
So it's important. I think films are changing. I don't know. Do you think animal rights movement gets further? We aren't going to have like people riding horses in movies or at Disneyland? Because talking about,
yeah, I mean, I don't think a horse really likes being ridden that much.
Exactly.
Personally.
Even temporarily for a film, that you could say.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyway. So what else didn't work?
For you?
For me. I mean, obviously, kind of we already said, just the meandering, like, looseness of it all.
Where it's like not a lot actually happens. We've said that before about these films.
And just the sort of what the fuck is going on-ness of it. I guess it's there, but
it's not helped by its length. Like, it feels like
we spent a lot of time in that school where nothing happened. Because
that's the thing. You could cut. There is the shorter cut of this, but it feels like then it'd make even less sense of
maybe,
because even though nothing's happening, stuff is happening as far as she gets from point A to B to C, and we wouldn't be able to track it if it was any shorter. Yet it's just more about these clues that aren't clues and these setups that feel like setups with no payoffs. The gun, like you mentioned, like, okay, like what?
Here's one that really confused me. In the opening scene, which I sort of forgot to mention, I actually really like the opening scene with the girl coming into the house.
Yeah.
And
missing the bus.
So when the girl in the beginning, she's in the house, we have these close-ups of the eye hole screws that are holding two chains that are screwed into a wall, and they're being pulled on, and eventually they get pulled out of the wall. And then whoever is on the other end of those chains attacks the girl.
Right. That was super confusing.
And she's in the Swiss home that the fly leads Jennifer to. And that's not the same house as Frau Bruckner's.
It's like her hideout or something?
So who the fuck was the chained up person? Because later in the dungeon of Frau Bruckner's is the cop, the detective, who's being tortured or whatever, and he's chained up in the exact same way.
So I just got that.
I'm so confused by what's where and when.
I think Frau Bruckner just has another hideout spot.
Man.
That's the first one. But what's more confusing to me is that opening scene, when the girl, she gets into the house when she's looking for help. It's another crazy coincidence where, it happens to be in this very hour where this girl gets lost and escapes into a house that chained up person is escaping.
Well, my impression was that it was sort of like Sloth. Once he hears that somebody else is there, it gives him the sort of, he's like pulling harder because it's like, now I can get away, or I want to go after this person, so I'm going to pull extra hard on the chains.
Sure. Great.
But then she gets chased by somebody with scissors.
Yeah.
And that person has white gloves on, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's not the person who is chained up then.
Yeah, no.
So what the fuck is going... Okay, so can we figure out, like, is there a way to explain this?
So was that the son maybe tied up?
That's possible.
And it was just like they moved?
And then because...
Oh, yeah,
because Frau Bruckner doesn't want people to know that the son exists, the son tries to kill the first girl, Vera, with the chains, and then she gets away, and then Frau Bruckner chases after her to kill her because of what she's seen?
Because that's just what she does. We never really understand her MO.
Yeah.
But Tim, I think we figured out as far as that house was just their previous house.
Oh, because the real estate person...
So this is just a new setup of hers, their new house at the end.
So in the 8 months between then and when Jennifer is in Switzerland, Frau Bruckner built this fucking crazy fortress.
Yeah.
Damn.
Not from scratch, but as far as the shutters, yeah.
and the dungeon. But okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can loosely get behind that. But fuck.
So stuff happens, yet not a lot happens. It makes the movie feel long.
The whole sequence of Jennifer like trying to leave
what?
Switzerland.
Oh yeah,
like trying to get a ticket out and
talking to the guy at the bank or whatever.
Falling asleep.
Right.
I mean, literally, I was like, oh no, I need to keep my eyes open.
You were like,
I was
wait,
like, wait, how the
get...
fuck did this happen? Oh God. Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't. It was weird. Like Jennifer Connelly, she's good, but like it was more on the part of, I guess, the direction or whatever. Like I couldn't tell you anything about her character. It just kept feeling like it wasn't in the good way of, oh, she's 3-dimensional because we're learning new things about her. We just kept sort of getting new things that felt inconsistent somehow.
I have to be honest. She seemed like sedated. Mm-hmm. She's saying all of her lines come out in like really, like she'll be like, so anyway, this happened.
But then at times...
Pause.
But that's not all that she does. Then she also flips out. And what are you doing here? And oh my God. You know, she'll...
When did she do that?
She's multiple times throughout.
I can't remember. All I remember is her just being like almost a zombie half the time.
Remember like when she got kidnapped?
That, sure. Yeah, she flips out then. That's true.
Remember when she like sees the headmaster comes in and she's yelling at them?
Is that the time when she walks out, she's like, what a bitch?
I think so. Right.
Yeah, it's true. But man, I don't know.
For me,
it was just odd. The whole performance seemed like
there was something
weird.
Inconsistent to it for me. That's more all I had.
The other thing that I just, as a general thing, sign of the times maybe, I just don't like this sort of, it wasn't overt, but the sexualization of like a teenager. I just was like
and then, why have it be about girls that age at all?
Yeah, kind of. But even so, it's like putting her in like short nighty type clothes. I mean, I get it. You got to be in something when you're
her
sleeping.
Shoulder showing and neck showing. Yeah,
I just, it felt kind of creepy and like, meh.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
It did feel that way. Having
every woman in the movie be a bad guy, and then like the old dude who has a monkey just being kind of lechery-ish almost. Like, it never goes there, but it just like broadly feels a little gross.
I don't know. I agree with you up to that point. I think that was, I thought what you were getting at just there is like the only person who actually seems normal and not weird is like the older white man, you know, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, I'm not saying it goes there, but it felt like it was on the, like, we were like a breath away from it going there. It never does. But I was like,
I didn't see that. I mean,
just when he's like,
I agree the movie was, but
look at the effect you have on them.
You didn't say that at all. He to me felt like genuinely avuncular grandfatherly, like, and the problem was exactly as you just said, where it's the filmmaker, the film. He's the only character that is this older male that treats like they're not a reprehensible person in any way. But all the women in it are crazy. Yeah. Including our protagonist.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Yeah, so there's just something kind of overtone-y about it that I'm meh.
Yeah, I agree with you as far as the movie has that for sure.
Yeah.
Which we said something about that while watching it, and I'm just like, Dario Argento.
Yeah. Beyond that, I mean, that's kind of it. It's not. There's nothing like super. Nothing else that I feel is super specifically like not working, but just kind of broadly things don't feel like they're working. Plot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to break that down anymore.
I don't either.
We've done it before, and we've touched on it.
There's like character logic things that are just sort of Like, I think it's just a product of how you structure and how you like the roadblocks you put in people in your character's way, like the obstacles. For example, when she's locked in the room after the pill thing, and then the phone, she realizes if it rings or something, right? And she realizes it's in this other room and it's locked. That door is locked, but there's this opening above the door, and she goes through this elaborate thing of trying to like use an extension pole thing to like grab it, and we go through all of this of her grabbing it, and then eventually she just climbs through the fucking window. It's like, dude, what? Why did we do the whole other thing that wasn't working? Just climb through the window. Let's get into it.
Right.
Get into the window and have another problem that's actually like to the point.
Not so forced.
That makes her then go, fuck, I have nowhere to go. Let me go down this hole. But it's like they had to do that so that the phone could fall down the hole so she could go into the... It's like, no, you don't need any of that. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Just get to it.
Nope.
Not in this.
Sorry.
Because, man, it's like once she got in the fucking dungeon, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yep. That was the movie.
Now we're in some fucking real shit.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the pool of decay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, yeah, little things like that kind of just, I'm like, ugh.
And I have to wonder with these films, it's like that's where the notoriety, like we already said how it's the overall feel vibe you're in, I get people into it, but I just wonder if some of these strong, memorable endings and being left with that, like, because this movie almost had me convinced it was something I loved a lot more than I did based on the ending alone.
Right. Deep Red got close to having a kind of a, ooh, wow, cool, sweet ending, but
I don't even remember.
It's like when we really get the discovery that the opening scene.
Oh yeah,
it's a different.
Yeah.
It's a different person.
Anyway, anything else that did not work for you? You want to say?
Nah.
It's great. Let's do it. Things of note.
Things of note.
This should be interesting.
I don't know, I only just had like the top Wikipedia thing. After its release in Italy, Phenomena was purchased for distribution in the United States by New Line Cinema, who cut over 20 minutes and released it under the title Creepers. So maybe, and I think the Blu-ray has that, like both versions, and then there's a third version too.
Wow. Creepers. I wonder if the poster looked familiar. I think it's one of those things that, when you're going to the Video Barn or Blockbuster or whatever, Video Barn was our local one. Like you see that box a bunch, but you never rent it because it's you think it's an Italian movie or something like that. Until now.
Oh yeah. Well, what was, things of note. What was with the sudden Italian scenes? They just started speaking Italian.
Who?
Was that a technical thing? Were they actually speaking in Italian?
No. Definitely not.
No, I mean, within the world of the film, was it supposed to be like they decided to switch to Italian momentarily? God. Which, if that was the case, you think they would have had subtitles.
Right. Actually, that was another thing. I guess it wasn't, because it comes with the territory of these movies, the dubbing and the sound, there are just a bunch of times when they like have clearly overlapped sound, and it's just it's so stark.
Actually, that was noteworthy with this one. It was the only film like this where it wasn't just dubbed all throughout. That's true. Yeah. That felt jarring to be watching one of those movies and have it actually be live sound them talking. And then after that, he's like, forget that. I'm going back to sync sound for opera.
Yeah. So one thing I think is cool, because we talked about the music, is the band that's credited for the score is Goblin, but all that they took from Goblin is two cues, because Goblin did Dawn of the Dead. Mm-hmm. They just stole or bought two little music cues from that score from Dawn of the Dead and put it in, and then said, in order to do that, they're like, okay, well, we'll credit you with the score of this movie.
Hey, it worked.
It's like, what? Okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, and like we had already mentioned, having Iron Maiden and Motorhead and a bunch of other cool fucking crazy bands is fun.
It was interesting to note the similarities between this and opera that you saw, like where you see the Argento interested in these ideas of intelligence and kinship with animals, and seeing that. So it was neat to see it honed and used to a way that all paid off and made sense with the crows or the ravens in opera, his next film.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just doesn't quite get to where it could. Even
though it was about it, like in this movie, it was all about it. It wasn't. Yeah, that's
that thing of. You could have this exact movie without the insect thing, and it would be the same movie.
Right.
So if that's the case, you didn't really weave that in.
Right. Why did it have to be this movie?
Yeah.
But that was cool to see him come back to that theme and be interested in sort of showing intelligence in animals and using them to solve murders.
Yeah.
Is a fly in this one.
I think that's cool.
Crow in the opera.
Yeah. I mean, it's got pretty mixed reviews, but it's coming out at a time, it's the other movies around this are Possession.
Possession was 80 or 81, wasn't it?
This is 81.
No, Phenomena is 85.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh. What's 81?
Lots of movies.
Oh, The Beyond is 81.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, so, but still, that early 80s, like, think of the other early 80s horror films of the time, like Poltergeist, Possession, like...
But this is mid-80s.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah, I wonder more about how it was received then.
This last one on Wikipedia is kind of interesting. There's a Japanese video game developer who created a game called Clock Tower, which is largely borrowing from this movie.
See, that's thing.
That's kind of interesting. Like, it had an impact.
Yeah, that's the deal with these movies. It's like there's something in there that's can clearly give influence. Like just insects, the girl's kinship with communicating with insects.
Yeah.
Old boarding school. It's gray. It's green. It's dark. We got crazy people. We got asylums. We got, it's all that. That's on display. That's stiff.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's a swing and a miss by Dario.
Yeah, we have
but he
opera to
swung.
compare it to.
He swung. Is that a word? Swung?
Mm-hmm.
He swinged.
It swung.
All right, man. Well, there you go.
Okay.
Phenomena.
Move on from Phenomena and do RecommenDEADtions.
Definitely.
Okay. You want to go?
I've forgotten what I was going to do.
I'll go. I haven't watched a lot, but actually per a friend of our podcast, Retro Reviews, Ray from Retro Reviews recommended.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, Ray. He recommended +1, the new 2019 romantic comedy that I saw was free to watch on Hulu. So I watched it. He described it as like, it's sort of interesting to see a millennial kind of classic romantic comedy, done with that sort of formula or whatever.
We watched a movie by that filmmaker.
Oh, yeah?
I'm pretty sure.
The filmmakers are Jeff Chan and Andrew Reimer.
Maybe not then. I thought that was one of... Whatever. We'll look it up and maybe talk about it some other time.
But
I
wanted to watch it for exactly that, and I liked it for exactly that. Oh, and as the woman from what's the show? Pen 15, Maya Erskine. She's awesome. She's hilarious.
It's so funny you're mentioning her. We were just talking about her, my buddies.
Oh yeah,
in a totally different context.
She's great, right?
Yeah.
She's so funny. So just like her plus modern millennial romantic comedy, I'm like, yeah, I want to see that. And it was cool to be able to see in that formula, in that guise, exactly that.
Cool.
So I appreciate it. I don't want to say like there's nothing that wowed me about the filmmaking or anything, or there's some stuff that felt kind of like low budget, not the best of ways, but there's a lot of great stuff going in it. So thanks, Ray, for the recommendation. Now I am recommending it. +1.
Cool. Mine is kind of random. It is not a horror film unless you find...
I mean, mine wasn't.
Cars horrifying.
You didn't think I was just recommending a horror film to do.
But this is way tangential. I mean, it's sort of just connected to my personal love of cars and old cars and all of that fun stuff.
Tim likes cars.
I love cars. Every time there's a car in a movie, I'm like, ooh.
It's true. He says, do you know that's the same car as this? I'm like, no, I didn't.
And Ryan also is thinking, who gives a shit? But there's a new show on Netflix that it's not too often that I just watch and don't stop watching until the season is over.
Ghost Hunters is the other one.
Yeah. Well, but I have I'll stop. I'll get like 5 episodes deep and then be like, okay, it's time to take a break. This one I just watched, like without stopping. It's called Rust Valley Restorers. It's awesome.
I can see it already.
It's these fucking old, it's in Canada. I forget what town. It's called, Rust Valley is this particular place in Canada that is known for having a lot of old cars that haven't fallen apart completely because the air is really dry and, it's not super wet or something. And the main guy is just a fucking character. And they just run a shop where they restore old cars, but he has his property has like over 100 and like some odd just totally fucking dead.
It's like a treasure trove.
Yeah. And he just goes in and like looks for one. He's like, oh, hey, that's a 68, Chevelle. That'd be a cool one. The motor still works in it. Let's restore it. And maybe we can sell it and keep the shop open.
Yeah.
It's fun, man.
It's fun to see the car have new life breathed into it.
Between the 3 main characters of it are the guy who owns the shop and his like mechanic buddy who is hilarious. If you saw a picture, look it up because the picture of this dude, both of them, the main guy is this super tall, scraggly, 60 some odd year old white dude with very long blonde dreadlocks. And his mechanic buddy, who's like a super expert with engines, is a head shorter than him, very round, bald but long hair, and a giant porn stash. And those two spend the entire show just screaming at each other. But they like in the most fun sort of, not like they're not assholes, but they just are yelling all the time.
They just love it.
And then the third guy is the main dude's son, who's like the straight man. He's just sitting there going, oh man, we're fucked. It's fun, man. It's like an easy breezy watch.
Everything you love.
Kind of, yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Can I figure out what we're watching next week?
Is it your turn?
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah, then.
You pulled Phenomena, I believe.
Great. I don't remember. If it's within the last week, I don't remember any of it.
Eyes of My Mother, 2016.
Whoa.
This was a relatively new release. I've been very curious to see, so...
Why are you handing me this?
To get rid of it.
Eyes of My Mother, all right.
Black and white.
Oh! I do know about this. Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Great.
So let's find out for ourselves next week.
Nice.
Until then, you can find us at dismemberinghorror.com or have a Gmail. You can email us like you can do with Gmail. That's dismemberinghorror@gmail.com.
I mean, you could slide into our DMs.
Please.
At Instagram. Yeah. At dismemberinghorror.
Our Instagram is at dismemberinghorror.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. Come hang out.
Tell a friend.
That's right. Rate and review.
Rate, review, tell a friend, all that good stuff.
Yep.
I think it's about it.
I think you're right.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. In closing, thanks for listening.
There you go. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.